Hello! Today I'll be unboxing the Aarke Large Water Purifier, 2.8 litre capacity. If you don't fancy watching the unboxing, skip ahead to the next chapter for the review. I'll cover the pros and cons, show you what changing the filter involves, and finish up with my final thoughts. Initial impressions, it's fancy. We bought this because we want to stop using plastic water filters that take the disposable filters that you throw away every single month. We've been using a Brita filter for years and years and years. It's great. It's got huge capacity and it's so easy to fill, you just flip the top. I am expecting a bit more work with this one, but that's the price you pay, I guess, for not having plastic. I'm going to use it for a few weeks, then I'll get back to you on what I think. I've been using this filter for around a month now. I refused to pay full price and I waited for a sale. I paid £96 instead of £120, and I bought this purifier from Lakeland, where they give all of their products a 3-year guarantee. I also bought the Granules from Lakeland at a slightly reduced price, which I'll talk more about later. So I wanted a new filter because my Brita filter was over a decade old and getting tired. I wanted a water filter that wasn't plastic. I don't have anything against plastic, but I really wanted the jug and the bit that filters the water to not be plastic. I didn't want the water to sit in plastic, and I wanted to stop using single-use filters. I think I only started thinking about this when Instagram showed me adverts for Fox, P-H-O-X. They make reusable filter cartridges and they have glass and plastic jugs, but the internal parts that hold the filters, those are made of plastic. And that's how I came to find Aarke. With Aarke, the jug is glass, the reservoir filter and lid are stainless steel, and the handle and the inside of the lid, they're plastic. So water doesn't come into contact with plastic. If you poured violently, very quickly, it would touch the rubber seal, but if you just pour normally, it's just glass. I'll start with the pros and I'll rattle through these fairly quickly because I think they're self-explanatory. And if you're anything like me, you want to know more about the cons. First up, it looks really pretty. You could sit it at a dining table alongside a fancy dinner and it wouldn't look out of place. It's sturdy. The build quality feels really solid. The handle is robust and the rubbery bit on the bottom is completely non-slip. It's really grippy. The glass doesn't feel thin or flimsy and it pours nicely. It doesn't have a flap like the Brita does, which that would automatically open when you pour from it. And that isn't great if you've got hard water, because as soon as it gets some lime scale build up, sometimes the flap doesn't open and the water pours weirdly and just makes a mess. I'd end up having to soak the lid upside down in white vinegar from time to time to remove the lime scale just to get it to function properly. The jug is replaceable. This is a big one. And this is how long this filter has been on my radar. I contacted Aarke back in July, about 6 months ago, because I could see that they sold replaceable jugs for their small filter, but not for the big one. And I did not want to buy this purifier if I couldn't get a replacement jug. I mean, it's glass. If I break it, I don't want to shell out another £100+ Anyway, the replacement jugs appeared on the website sometime in October, I think, and they're £24. They're the same price as the smaller jug. I think this is really good. One thing, not entirely sure how you get the new jug into the base and the handle. There are screws here and here, So that will probably loosen it and then you'll put it in that way. Who knows? Hopefully I'll never have to figure it out. This does filter water quickly, which is good because you can't put the lid on if you filled the reservoir all the way to the top. You have to wait about 10 seconds for the water level to drop a little bit. Otherwise, if you force the lid on, water comes out of the handle just here. It does pour nicely, and that's important. I mean, if you've ever had a teapot like this, these are just a nightmare to pour from. They make such a mess, and the Aarke jug pours just fine. You sort of have to take your time with it a bit. If you tip this all the way up to get the water to come out really fast, water will come out of the sides. But honestly, the pouring is fine. I do have a little bit more to say on this in the next section though. It has a reminder dial. I think this is good and better than Brita's digital lifetime indicator, which failed for me after just a few months. Aarke has this little dial that you set, and that's it. It's just a manual dial. You can't really break it, and there isn't any way for it to fail that I can see. Okay, on to the cons, and these may not be cons for you, it depends. The first one is the capacity. This holds 1.66 litres. So we drink water by the pint, and we use filtered water in our coffee machine and our kettle. So we are just constantly refilling this. I mean, pretty much every time we use it. Depending on how much water you use, you may not have this issue. The lid. You have to remove the lid to fill it. I mean, this is just a little one, but with the Brita, you could just flip the lid open and shove the whole thing under a tap. With this, you have to take the lid off entirely, put it on a counter, and we put it this way up because it just feels more hygienic. Then you fill it. So it's not a big deal, but it's just slightly more of a faff than with the Brita. The lid is really secure. This is not a problem. After about a week, I realised it's better if you just pull it straight up. And sometimes the reservoir wants to come out with the lid, so I just hold it with my thumb when I remove the lid. It's fine, but when I buy gadgets and appliances, I often think of my mum. She's got mild arthritis in her hands, and I think she might struggle with this lid. And the other thing is that when this jug is at full capacity, it is heavy. I mean, I cope fine, but again, I think my mum would find this particularly heavy compared to her Brita filter. She's got the normal size one, not the jumbo one that we used to have. The spout. I think the pouring motion is nice, but you do end up with water on top and underneath. If you don't have hard water, this probably isn't a big deal, but I live in Norwich, which has the hardest water ever. And after a week, I could see a tiny bit of limescale just on the inside. So we wipe the spout every time we use it. Honestly, I just use my hand on the underside, and I don't bother with the top unless I've got a tea towel or a dishcloth nearby. Okay, so those are the cons, but possibly not cons for you. On to some more neutral points. Taste. I'm not sure if this is weird, but taste isn't particularly important to me. I just think this is filtered water, it's going to taste fine. When you put new granules in, you get this clean, sharp taste to the water for a few days, and then that fades. The Aarke granules do taste different to the Brita granules, but I honestly don't have a preference. Last thing about this, you have to be more careful with the jug because it's glass. I'm not listing that as a con because it's what I was looking for in a new filter. So really it's a pro, but you just need to be more mindful with it when you use it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And like I said earlier, the glass is replaceable. Granules. They are easy enough to change, and this is me changing them for the first time. The granules come in packs of 3. They're around £17 for one box, which lasts for roughly 3 months. Changing the granules is a bit more involved compared to the Brita, where you just swap out the old cartridge for a new one. The granules are jammed into the filter and don't really want to come out, so I use a spoon. It's kind of messy but can't really be helped. Use a bowl or colander to catch the granules. Give everything a wash, then fill up the filter with new granules. They fit without a millimetre to spare. Screw the lid back on and then soak the filter in water for 5 minutes. Once that's done, pop it into the reservoir. It fits in snugly but doesn't click or lock into place. Discard the water. I keep it to water plants. Put the reservoir back into the jug, fill it up, set the reminder dial, discard the first lot of filtered water and you're done. The granules work out slightly more expensive than Brita. I used to buy their cartridges in bulk, but they're not that much more expensive and I'm not throwing away a big plastic cartridge every month. Aarke makes 2 types of granules. We can only use pure because the magnesium enriched ones, they don't remove limescale. The magnesium granules are slightly more expensive. They are £25 for a 3-month supply. Right, so in conclusion, something I always ask myself about the products I'm reviewing is, if it broke tomorrow, would I replace it? Despite the fact I have to refill it constantly and that I have to wipe it always, I would. If you sat the Aarke filter in front of me alongside the bigger Brita and I had to choose, I would choose Aarke. I asked Cole the same question, and after getting a bit of a politician's answer with me yelling yes or no, he also said he would stick with Aarke too. So that's it. If there's anything I didn't cover, or if you've got any questions or feedback, let me know. I'm all ears. I'll be doing more product reviews soon. I love them. They're one of my favourite things to write for the blog because I've done all this research and I just want to share it. So take a look at the blog and I'll post some more appliance reviews soon. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Regarding taste, and I'm not sure if this is a bit strange, but something I discussed with Cole ages ago is that water tastes different at night. Is it just us? I drink water during the day and don't give it a second thought, but at night, when I need to drink just a bit, otherwise I'll have to get up to pee, then suddenly water tastes amazing and I want to drink loads. It's so annoying. We have this theory that it's because water's sort of off limit at that point and we call it forbidden night water. But anyway. Hello, today I'm unboxing the Aarke Purifier Large 2.8 litre capacity water filter.
Seamless.